Welcome to the Crop Insurance Podcast, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of crop insurance. I'm your host, Mike Rydell, a third-generation crop insurance agent, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this educational journey. At our family-owned and operated business, we've been providing crop insurance expertise for generations. Our goal here is simple, to educate our listeners. Crop insurance can be complex and overwhelming, but I believe that understanding it is crucial for every farmer. So whether you're a seasoned farmer looking to stay updated or a newcomer seeking guidance, this podcast is for you. Welcome to today's podcast, brought to you by Crop West Insurance Incorporated, your agent-friendly crop insurance group. Calling all crop insurance agents. Looking to level up your agency and boost your bottom line? Crop West Insurance has the solution you've been searching for. With their proven track record of success and a range of benefits, including increased commissions, specialized training, and access to exclusive resources, they are committed to helping you reach new heights of success. Join their community of agents today and let Crop West Insurance be your driving force in the crop insurance industry. For more information, please head on over to their website at cropwestinsurance.com. Crop West Insurance Incorporated is an equal opportunity provider and employer. Welcome to the Crop Insurance Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rydell. In today's episode, we're going to do things a little bit differently. In the past, I would go over what the policy documents or what the policy language is in layman's terms and discuss some of the policy provisions that you can find in the Crop Insurance Handbook or Loss Adjustment Manual to better help you understand how your federal crop insurance policy works and the different programs available. Today, I was going to discuss more from a personal experience or our agency's experience over the past 40 years of what we've run into when it comes to losses involving hailstorms. It's that time of year all over the United States where a hailstorm can come through and damage your crops. Now, we've had a lot of scenarios throughout the years, and we will not be able to cover all of those scenarios, but we're going to try to give you a high level of what to do in the event of a hailstorm and how to proceed so that you can comply with the different rules and regulations and to maybe give you a little bit of peace of mind. To start off, the first thing I want to mention is if you have taken your crop insurance agent's advice, in theory, you should have very adequate coverage to help get you to the next crop year. Now, a lot of people do look to try to ensure some sort of profit on their crop insurance policies, and that typically comes in the form of additional hail insurance coverage, as your underlying federal crop insurance policy should cover your input costs or what your operating loans may be for that year. These are all discussions you should have had with your crop insurance agent throughout the policy year or throughout the crop year. Or you could go back and listen to a bunch of our crop insurance podcast episodes where we discuss how the policy works. Because again, at the end of the day, the intention of these policies is to help get you to the next year. Now, we work with a lot of family-owned and operated farms and operations in central Montana, and our goal is to keep that farm in their family by providing adequate risk protection products. Now, federal crop insurance is a fantastic tool to help you cover your input costs and to get you to that next year. And in regards to a hailstorm, the thought process on adding additional hail, we've covered in a previous podcast. But if the crop warrants it, people might add additional hail insurance. Now, if you want to learn more about hail insurance coverage or the different products out there, make sure you check out our previous episode all about hail insurance. What I'm talking about today is what happens when that hailstorm or the great white combine in the sky comes through and either partially damages or completely damages your crop. Now, we've had calls where people are concerned that they're going to lose their farm or lose their operation right after a hailstorm occurs. And I understand the emotional response as you have a beautiful crop out there, and then in a matter of minutes, it's completely gone. Well, when it comes to your federal crop insurance policy, hail is a covered peril. Now, there needs to be enough damage to your crop to bring your production to count below your guarantee. Now, that might take into account the harvest price versus the projected price if you're in revenue protection, or just straight yield protection, how many bushels you harvest. And it's going to depend on how bad that damage is. Now, if a hailstorm comes through, you need to notify your crop insurance agent that you did have some hail damage. Now, you don't have to notify them the second it happens if you're not able to get out there. But as soon as you discover that you have a loss or that there is damage, in theory, you have 72 hours to report that to your crop insurance company to get that process started. So if a hailstorm comes through, and whether it wipes you completely out or whether it's partial damage, once the roads dry out or the field roads dry out and you're able to get out there and look to see what the damage is, or if you in fact did get hit, once you notice that you did get hit by hail, you need to notify your crop insurance agent. Now, if the damage is not severe, and by severe, I mean the damage is bad enough where you're not going to want to harvest your crop. Maybe you want to hay it, or maybe it's completely gone and you're just going to plow the fields. Whatever the case is, if it's that bad, then you can turn in an unharvestable claim to get an adjuster out there to do an appraisal on the acres that you're thinking about destroying. And that appraisal is going to count as your production. And then at the end of the crop insurance period, if it's a partial unit or a unit within an enterprise unit setup, you're going to take all of the actual production that you harvested, add in the appraised production, and then see if you have a loss or not. Now, let's say it's just a standalone unit in your operation that's completely destroyed. They come out and give you a 1 or 5 bushel per acre appraisal. That would count as your production. You could then destroy that field if you're given permission by the crop insurance company, and then get paid your loss at that time, and then carry out the rest of harvest on your other optional units, if that's the case, to see if there's a loss on those units when you get to harvest. Now, if you go out and there's just minor damage, you still want to let the crop insurance company know, or your agent know, so they can file a notice of damage. Now, this is important because if it's minor damage, you're not sure if you have a loss or not, and you get to harvest, you get busy, and you don't think there's a loss, and you're just gathering all your production info and turn it into your agent. And then at that time, your agent discovers that there is a loss in the field based on maybe the harvest price went down, or just the production was just low enough as a result of that hailstorm that you do have a loss. If you don't have a timely filed notice of loss or notice of damage, you could potentially not be able to collect a loss in that scenario. So it's very important to get a loss turned in or a notice of damage if you think there's some sort of loss that has been sustained on your farm. That's crucial to getting a loss paid and complying with the federal crop rules. Now, if you have optional or additional hail insurance coverage, you're still going to want to turn in that loss on your federal crop, but obviously you're going to want to turn in that loss on your hail insurance policy. Now, with hail insurance losses, those are paid by the acre. So they're going to go out and figure out where the hailstorm came through, what the percentage of damage is, and then how many acres were hit by that storm. Because the storm might have cut through the middle of your operation or just on the edges, or could have damaged your entire operation. But they'll be able to draw lines based on their counts in the fields when they go out and adjust it to determine how many acres there are, and they'll pay that loss, the hail insurance loss, right there at that time of loss. Now, it could take a couple of days if it's a large loss, or the timing of the hailstorm and the stage of the crop. But all things being equal, if they go out there and are able to determine the damage and pay you your loss at that time, then you can move on and take your field to harvest or whatever might be occurring based on how bad the damage is. Now, one misconception or one thing that people sometimes confuse is that if you have additional or optional hail insurance coverage and you have a loss, now if you have not paid that premium, they can deduct the premium from your loss and then pay you the difference. However, they cannot deduct the federal crop insurance premium from a hail insurance policy loss. They're just going to pay you the difference. You could then turn around and use those monies or those funds to pay your federal crop insurance premium, but they're not going to deduct federal crop insurance premiums from a hail insurance loss, and vice versa. They're not going to go out and adjust your federal crop loss and then deduct any outstanding hail insurance premiums from that federal crop insurance loss, because they can't do that. Now, if there's a federal crop insurance loss, the crop insurance agent is not allowed to go on those with the adjuster. That's against the rules. They cannot do that. If it's just a hail insurance or optional hail insurance loss, and you're not doing a federal crop insurance appraisal, and it's just for the hail policy, your crop insurance agent can go on those losses if they're available or if it works in the adjuster's schedule. Sometimes the adjusters will be going out and doing the federal crop insurance loss at the same time as the hail insurance loss. And so as a rule of thumb, you don't want to go on those losses as a crop insurance agent, just to avoid any sort of issues with the rules and regulations governing federal crop insurance. At the end of the day, like I mentioned at the start of this episode, if you have sat down with your crop insurance agent and gone over your operation, the input costs, how it works, what your concerns are, all during the sales closing period, you should have adequate coverage to get you to that next crop year. If you have not done that, hopefully you've listened to our podcast and taken some of that knowledge to make sure that you've built your policy accordingly to cover yourself to get you to that next year should you suffer a large hail claim and just get wiped out in a matter of minutes. Hopefully your policies are set up properly so that you can get to that next year. From my family to yours, thank you very much for listening. I sincerely hope that this presentation has been instrumental in enhancing your understanding of federal crop insurance. If you find value in our podcast, we kindly encourage you to subscribe and spread the word among your friends and neighbors. To access further information, please visit our website at thecropinsurancepodcast.com, where you'll find the latest podcast episodes, articles, and exciting new features conveniently located in one place. This information is not all-inclusive and is meant to be used only as general guidelines for educational purposes. For additional information, please see crop provisions, reference the Crop Insurance Handbook or Loss Adjustment Manual, or contact your crop insurance agent. This institution is an equal opportunity provider and employer.